Ready?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Cook. And committee members, thank you for allowing me to lay out the committee substitute for House Bill 3859.
Wait just a second. Wait just a minute here. Do I have a committee substitute? I think what you got to lay out here, Mr. Frank, is strictly the bill, because I don't have a substitute.
Yeah, and then you can talk about the substitute.
Okay.
Just lay out the bill, then you can talk about what would be in a
Okay,
substitute.
very, very good. Well, then I correct myself. I will lay out House Bill 3859. While I will not insult the committee by telling you it's a simple bill, I can assure you it is significantly less complicated and does less things than some would have you believe. I actually wanted to make sure that the legislative intent of the bill was crystal clear, and so I included it at the beginning, and I won't read all the bill to you, but I would like to read the legislative intent because I believe what the bill does is exactly what the intent says. It says it is the intent of the legislature to maintain a diverse network of service providers that offer a range of foster capacity options and that can accommodate children from various backgrounds, various cultural backgrounds. To that end, the legislature expects reasonable accommodations to be made by the state to allow people of diverse backgrounds and beliefs to be a part of meeting the needs of children in the child welfare system. And then it ends by saying decisions regarding the placement of children shall continue to be made in the best interest of the child, including which person is best able to provide for the child's physical, physiological, and emotional needs and developments. So to be clear, the intent and I believe the result of passing this bill will be to allow current foster care homes in Texas to remain open and to grow the number of high-quality foster homes for the at-risk children of the state. The specific purpose of this bill is to protect a group that is tremendously important to taking care of the most vulnerable children in this state. Currently, many in the faith-based communities are being targeted with litigation and discrimination because of their beliefs. A group that is currently providing approximately 25% of child welfare services in the state. And that's what this bill seeks to protect. It is critical that we retain and grow this group of providers as well as everyone else, and this is important, as well as everyone else who is willing to step into the foster care arena and help. The reason I filed this bill is simple. I've spent time, many of y'all know, since I've been in the legislature working with CPS, and I've filed bills, and more importantly, I've spent a lot of time getting to know the inner workings of CPS in an effort to improve it. I, along with Representative Rodriguez and others, were on the Speaker's work group addressing CPS and foster care. But when addressing the foster care shortage, there were a number of issues that were important to address, and we are addressing some of those with other issues. Unfortunately, this is also a bill that needs to be done in order to protect and even grow our foster care capacities. Members, I truly wish this bill weren't necessary. However, increasingly, there are organizations wholly unconnected, and this is an important point, wholly unconnected to the child welfare services that are suing quality foster care service providers out of business for nothing more than the audacity to act on the beliefs that are different than the popular culture. In Texas, organizations have suspended services because of legal suits and litigation threats, and others are considering shutting their doors, and you will hear from some of them. It is critical to understand that the lawsuits that we are trying to protect, again, have absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the care that these foster care homes are providing, nothing to do with their training, verification services, or their willingness to take child placements of any kind. I'd like to just repeat, we are protecting foster care providers who are being targeted for lawsuits by organizations that are not a part of the fix. Members, I believe we must do all that we can to allow everyone to provide diverse, high-quality foster homes in every community in the state of Texas. So what does this bill do? Specifically, it allows foster care providers to decline to provide certain services. It does not allow the provider to do anything they want, but rather it allows them to say no in very specific, limited circumstances. The bill as written simply protects against the lawsuits that are being filed for things that religious organizations are getting sued for not providing. I'll be happy to talk more about those. Let me tell you a couple of things that the bill does not do, because that seems to be, in some ways, as important as what it does. First, I don't believe the bill does any discrimination. This is not about restricting the rights of Texans. It is intended to continue the long-held protection of rights for everyone, even when those rights appear to be in conflict. It is not a license to discriminate. It is actually, I believe, a license to participate in the foster care system. Everyone is allowed to participate who can bring safe, loving foster care homes to the table, but you will not be discriminated against because you're acting on your belief. Some will say this bill will prevent same-sex couples from adopting or fostering. That is absolutely not the case. In fact, I would like to personally thank some of the people that I'm sure will be here. I'd like to personally thank many of the same-sex foster care parents and members of the LGBT community for some of the amazing work that they have done and will continue to do in the area of foster care and child welfare. Their positive contributions to the life of at-risk children of this state are appreciated and do not go unnoticed. I know that many of the people that will testify today feel they're being targeted by this bill today, and while I don't expect them to believe me, that is not the purpose of this bill. In fact, there is protections in this bill. While it is overlooked in many of the articles that have been written, this bill actually requires the FPS to make sure that services are available to all. It actually will ensure that all types of service providers can live side by side and continue to offer services to everyone. The purpose is not to exclude or deny services. It is to help as many people as possible to participate in the services in a way that respects all points of view. This bill does not restrict the ability of LGBT couples to adopt, as it does not impose religious conscience, but allows it. It simply protects the ability of those for whom those services may conflict with sincerely held religious beliefs to decline to do so safely. One more thing it does not do, it does not affect placements in any way, shape, or form. Placements are made by CPS or by what's called single source continuum providers, SSCCs. It is clear from the wording of the bills, these organizations are not given any type of religious protection, so they will continue to work with everybody. In fact, if you think about it, what this bill also means is that religious providers who want protection will not be able to be single source continuum providers in our system, or will not have that protection. I'm getting close to the end. CPS and SSCCs are obligated to find placements that best fit the child, which I believe further illustrates why we need to make sure to expand a diverse network of foster care options. We need all types of providers. We need religious, we need secular, we need LGBT, etc., to provide enough good fits for all types of children from diverse background, regardless of whether it's Muslim, Christian, LGBT, etc., to serve the best interest of the child. Last but not least, in the bill, we've made very clear that the best interest of the child is always foremost. It is in the bill. That is, you said I could talk about the committee substitute. That's really the main thing that has been added in the committee substitute. As an abundance of caution, we have put the best interest of the child and made sure that's paramount. While nothing in the bill before denied that, we've made sure that that is first and foremost. The committee sub adds that language. Basically, if people are more concerned about children than a political agenda, then we would not need to be stopping the targeted anti-religious lawsuits that are hurting our foster care providers. Again, the lawsuits are being brought by people not involved in the system against people who are providing homes for kids. Members, the committee, HB 3859 is a license for faith-based adoption and foster care providers that have served disadvantaged children in Texas for decades. And it asks them to continue to participate in the child welfare system. And with that, Chairman, I'd like to reserve the right to close.
Members, any questions? Yes, we got a number of questions, and I appreciate you taking this issue on. I doubt very seriously if a couple of years ago you'd ever find yourself immersed in this.
I did not start thinking that this is something I needed to be involved in, but I have gotten involved in the foster care system, and I think, unfortunately, this is something that needs to be done to make sure we have enough homes out there.
You know, and you know as well as I do, we are really challenged to have enough good homes for these kids.
Yes.
And it's a tragedy that kids find themselves in a situation. But
absolutely,
I commend you for your efforts in trying to address this, where we can give kids a chance to have normal, decent lives that our kids took for granted, and these kids don't have that opportunity. So,
thank you, Chairman. And I just reiterate, really, I do believe, and I think the bill really allows an all skate. I may be dating myself by saying that, but we need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there's anything in this bill that precludes that. In fact, there's some things that protect it. So, thank you.